The greatest Linsanity runs in NBA history. The Cam Thomas Show. February 2023 in Brooklyn felt like a garage sale. Kevin Durant had one foot out the door, Kyrie Irving was already gone, and the Nets were basically a bunch of bad vibes duct taped together. Not that they aren't still. Somebody had to score, and Cam Thomas looked around and said, well, shit, might as well be me. On February 4th, he dropped 44 on Washington, pulling up from everywhere like the shot clock was optional. 2 nights later, he cooked the Clippers for 47, and before anyone could breathe, he came back and fried Phoenix for 43 the very next night. That made him the youngest player ever to score 40 in 3 straight games, which sounded fake even live. These were not role player buckets either. These were tough pull-ups, deep heat check threes, defenders draped on him, still splashing. He averaged 44.7 points across that stretch and took over 20 shots a night with zero shame, zero fear, and zero passing if we're being honest. For 3 insane nights, he turned Barclays Center into his own wet dream shooting gym. Michael Carter Williams, Game 1. Opening night 2013 was supposed to be a slaughter. Miami were champions, LeBron was in God mode, and Philadelphia was openly tanking. The Sixers started a skinny rookie named Michael Carter Williams, and everyone expected a long, embarrassing night. Instead, MC turned the game into a prank. He jumped passing lanes, pushed the break, and hit jumpers nobody knew he even owned. By halftime, Miami looked confused. And by the 4th, they looked annoyed. Carter Williams finished with 22 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, and 9 steals. 9 steals in his first NBA game against LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Philly won outright, and the building lost its mind. For a moment, he felt like the future, won Rookie of the Year, and became the face of the rebuild. But it fell apart fast. The jumper broke, defenders sagged, and the league caught on. He bounced teams, roles, and expectations, but peaking on night 1 remains one of the strangest runs ever. It felt illegal, hilarious, and unforgettable all at the same time. Yogi Ferrell's 10-day takeover. January 2017 in Dallas felt hopeless. Dirk was old, the roster was cooked, and the season was drifting nowhere. The Mavericks needed a point guard and called up Yogi Ferrell on a 10-day contract, a guy the Nets had already cut. First game, 9 points. I mean, whatever. But then he dropped 19 on Cleveland and people started paying attention. Then he walked into Portland and lost his goddamn mind. Ferrell hit 9 threes, scored 32, and pulled from deep like he owned the court. He averaged 17 points and 5 assists across the deal, running wild with zero fear. Mark Cuban did not wait. Signed him immediately and printed Yogi Mania shirts. Dude basically was a walking Shark Tank pitch. But once defenses adjusted and the heater cooled, the magic unfortunately faded. Still, for 2 loud weeks, Yogi Ferrell was the most fearless little guard alive, shooting like he had nothing to lose and absolutely loving every second of it. Bubble TJ Warren. August 2020 basketball was weird. No fans, Disney hotels, and empty gyms everywhere. Most players hated it, but TJ Warren absolutely loved it. Warren had always been a quiet bucket, about 15 points a night, but ultimately nothing flashy. Then the bubble tipped off, and he turned into a problem. In the restart opener against Philadelphia, Warren dropped 53, hit 9 threes, and started blowing kisses at virtual fans like he's about to give them the Ronies. He followed that with 34, 32, and 39 against Orlando and the Lakers, cooking everyone in sight. Across 8 seeding games, he averaged 31 points and shot 52% from 3. It looked fake, like he had unlocked a cheat code. But when the playoffs started, Miami shut it down. Injuries followed, and the myth froze in real time. Bubble TJ remains untouchable lore, proof that the strangest setting can turn good players into legends for one unforgettable stretch. Pacers fans still joke he left his powers inside the bubble, sealed away forever with no refunds, replays, or explanations for how real it actually was when it ended. Flip Murray, November 2003. November 2003 in Seattle started as a shrug. Ray Allen was hurt, the Supersonics needed a warm body, and they handed the keys to Flip Murray, a random Division II guard nobody planned for. Expectations were practically underground, and then the ball went up. Murray dropped 24 opening night, followed with 22, then started lighting everything on fire. He scored 29, then 31, then kept cooking defenders who clearly had no scouting report. For about a month, he averaged 23.4 points using hesitations, floaters, and street ball rhythm that felt illegal. Sports Illustrated even asked if he was the next star, which aged terribly fast. Because once Ray Allen returned, the fairy tale snapped. Murray went back to the bench, the shots dried up, and the league remembered who he was supposed to be. But for 4 ridiculous weeks, Flip Murray looked like the best shooting guard alive, slicing veterans, embarrassing schemes, and making Seattle fans briefly believe they found lightning in a bottle by accident. Sundiata Gaines, January 2010. January 2010 gave us the shortest insanity ever. The Jazz were hurt, desperate, and signed Sundiata Gaines to a 10-day deal straight from the D-League. He barely unpacked before LeBron and Cleveland came to town. Nobody knew who Gaines was, including the announcers reading his bio mid-game. He played solid, defended hard, scored 9 points, and then the clock got stupid. Utah down 2, 5 seconds left, ball loose, chaos everywhere. It bounced to Gaines, 24 feet out, and he no hesitation pulled up with a buzzer beater, and the crowd lost its goddamn mind. Teammates mobbed the guy that met 72 hours earlier. LeBron walked off stunned. Gaines earned a rest of season contract off of 1 shot. He never mattered again statistically, but that jumper lives forever. 1 possession, 1 contract, 1 moment of basketball immortality that still replays every time someone says 10-day contract magic. Mike James' 2006 season. Mike James' 2006 might be the longest fake superstar run ever. Toronto was awful. Vince Carter was gone, Chris Bosh was young, and the season felt dead on arrival. James was 30, undrafted, and averaging 9 points for his career. Then something snapped. He started pulling from deep, yelling at teammates, and calling himself the Amityville scorer like it was normal. He averaged 20.3 points for the entire season, so somehow it worked. He shot 44% from 3, and dropped 39 on Detroit, 38 on Philly, and 36 on New Jersey. The Raptors still stunk, but Mike James was must-watch television every night. He became the only undrafted player ever to average 20 for a full season. Then midnight hit. He got paid, cooled off, bounced teams, and reality unfortunately returned. But for one extremely weird year, Mike James played like Dame before Dame even existed. It confused defenses, fans, front offices, and historians who still argue how it even happened, because nothing else in his career looked even remotely close to that version for any stretch. Lester Hudson, spring 2012. Spring 2012 in Cleveland was pure misery and everybody knew it. LeBron was winning rings in Miami, Kyrie kept getting hurt, and the Cavs were quietly tanking while pretending everything was fine. Lester Hudson showed up as a late season body, basically there just to wear a uniform. But then he started cooking out of nowhere. On April 8th, he dropped 26 on the Nets, followed by 19, then another 19, and suddenly it wasn't a fluke. He had Orlando for 25, Detroit for 23, and Philly for 23 on back-to-back nights, pulling step-back threes and attacking traffic like he owned the floor. Over 3 weeks, he averaged 23 points and accidentally ruined draft odds, which had the front office sweating. But the fans couldn't get enough. They leaned right into it with Lester sanity signs, because why not enjoy something? When the season ended, Cleveland let him walk, but Hudson went to China and became a star. For 3 chaotic weeks, he felt unstoppable. Billy Ray Bates, early 1980s. Early 1980s playoff basketball felt lawless, and Billy Ray Bates fit it perfectly. He came from nowhere, bounced from the CBA, and showed up in Portland built like a linebacker with bounce that made no sense. Once the playoffs hit, he turned reckless confidence into production that nobody was ready for. In 1980, he averaged 25 points a night, then came back in 1981 averaging 28.3, dunking on legends and blowing past defenders who looked shocked. Even Kareem got tested, while the crowds lost their mind, and the nickname Black Superman stuck for a reason. It felt like street ball crashing the NBA stage and somehow winning. But the rise burned fast. Off-court issues followed him, substance problems crept in, and by 1983, he was gone. The league never figured him out because it barely had time. He went overseas and became a legend elsewhere. But those 2 playoff runs lived forever. For a brief window, Billy Ray Bates was chaos, electricity, and proof that sometimes the scariest players arrive without warning and leave before anyone can stop them. The original Linsanity. February 2012 in New York was desperation. The Knicks were losing, Carmelo was hurt, Amari was hurt, and Mike D'Antoni was coaching like his job was gone. Jeremy Lin was the 15th man, sleeping on couches, surviving cuts and barely holding on. Then he checked in against New Jersey and everything flipped. He dropped 25, ran the offense, and the Knicks won. People called it a fluke, but then he hit Utah for 28, Washington for 23 and 10. And suddenly, it was loud. When the Lakers came to the Garden, Kobe shrugged him off, and Lin answered with 38, shaking the building to its core. A few nights later in Toronto, tie game in the last seconds, he waved everyone off and splashed the winner. Over 3 weeks, he averaged 26.8 and 8.5, hit magazine covers, and became a global phenomenon. Then Melo returned and chemistry cracked with injuries and the run ended, but nothing could erase it. Linsanity was a stretch that was and still is remembered forever. If you like this video, Basketball for Dummies is looking to go on its own Linsanity run of views. So hit that subscribe button to be in the loop for some epic videos coming up, but watch this one right here, which YouTube thinks you're gonna really like.